1968 was an awful year. The Vietnam War was not slowing down, despite what the government told us. Dr. King was shot in April. Bobby Kennedy was killed in June. And the violence of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago happened that August. But this was 1969, and we were filled with hope. Newly elected President Nixon was starting troop withdrawals from Vietnam. They landed a man on the moon, and baseball expanded again. They've got a team in Canada now, can you believe that? I just finished my first year of college, and I had a new girlfriend, Amanda. She had chocolate brown hair with eyes that matched, and I frequently got lost in them. She was into rock and roll and the counterculture, and I was not. But it was still a young relationship, and so I was okay with doing things I didn't love in order to get along with her better. So when she came up to me and said she had tickets to the Woodstock Festival, I slapped a big smile on my face and said, "Groovy, baby." The drive to the concert venue, which was in Bethel, not Woodstock, was terrible. I have never seen traffic so backed up in my entire life. It took us 8 hours longer than we had planned just to get there. And as we got closer, there were people walking down both sides of the road, streaming past. And one of them stuck their head in the driver's side window and said to Amanda, "Ditch the car. You'll get there faster." And to my complete and utter shock, she did! She found a patch of grass and parked the car. We got out and joined the crowd moving towards the venue. And as we walked, I listened to the gossip that was swirling around me. They closed down the New York State freeway. They declared this place a disaster zone. There's 400,000 people here. Whoa, 400,000 people? That cannot be right. As we got closer, the ground got more and more trampled, and we stepped over the mangled remains of a chain-link fence. I guess those tickets that Amanda bought didn't apply anymore. As we stepped into the perimeter, it was as if we had entered a whole new world. There were people everywhere, buses and tents and blankets as far as the eye could see. There were people there who were my age, and younger and older. There were whole families there, kids and infants included. There was a man there teaching breathing exercises and yoga. There was an experimental theater troupe performing in the nude. There were people selling everything from sandwiches to cigarettes. And I could see the giant wooden stage at the base of the hill, and I could hear the music acts and the PA announcements in between sets. "Will Cole Karras please come to the information booth? Also, stay away from the brown acid." A helicopter landed next to the stage, and the next band got out and started setting up their equipment. It was the only way they could get the bands to the stage. And the smells, they were overwhelming. Marijuana and body sweat and the earthiness of nature. "Welcome to the second largest city in New York," a complete stranger said to me as I walked past. Amanda and I explored a little more, and then we decided we would take a seat on the hillside and settle in and watch the show. Unfortunately, at that exact moment, a storm decided to roll in. People were sprinting around the stage trying to cover all the equipment in plastic, and there were technicians scrambling down the lighting towers so they wouldn't get caught in the storm. And a chant began to roil through the crowd. "No rain, no rain, no rain." But it wasn't enough. The rains came and soaked the place, and everything turned to mud. Great. So here I am, soaked and covered in mud in this colony of hippies with no food and reeking of everything. But as I soon learned, there was a kind of magic to this place. A chant began a few sections over, and I got up to investigate. In the absence of any musical act on stage, this group of people decided to make their own music. They were banging metal cans together. and playing on metal poles with twigs, and they were singing, ah! And the singing got more and more intense as more people joined in, and it inspired a completely different set of people to slide down the hill. They got a running start, and they rode the mud all the way to the bottom, and they emerged as bog monsters dripping mud and grass, and the people loved it. That night, the townspeople brought in food because they had heard that we had run out. There were 45 doctors there working without pay. There was a medical tent where people could go if they were having a bad drug trip, and then once they recovered, they would stick around and help the next group of people. The community in this place was real and unlike anything I had ever experienced before. Amanda wanted to stay till the end. I had already been drenched and covered in mud, so sure, why the hell not? But everyone wasn't playing by that set of rules. The place was clearing out, and by the time all was said and done, the crowd that remained was only a fraction of what it had been when we first arrived. Then, the man with the headband got onto the stage and began playing his guitar, left-handed, I noted, and singing about foxy ladies.
Oh, yeah.
And then he launched into the Star-Spangled Banner. Hey, I said, finally a song that I recognize. But as I listened, it was different. When he got to the rocket's red glare phrase, his sound distorted. His guitar wailed and moaned, and bombs bursting in air only brought more distress as unpleasant chords clashed against one another, and a distorted version of taps emerged from the speakers. And then, suddenly, I got it. I understood that this distorted version of the anthem was feedback on a distorted America. The violence and the unrest and the war, it was all right there in the way that the man with the headband bent the notes on his guitar. And I understood why 500,000 people came to this place to listen to these bands, and why they had a connection with these artists and these songs, because they were singing about us, about America, about the human condition, in this sense of community and optimism and peace and love that I experienced at this festival was the utopia that they were all hoping for. I got it. And as we left Woodstock, Amanda and I, we picked through the moonscape of blankets caked and crusted over with mud, of discarded beer cans and clothing. The vibrant reds of half-eaten apples and pieces of watermelon popped from the muddy hillside, and I left Woodstock a different person than when I had arrived.